So, our discussion today is focused on goodwill. So, what do you mean by goodwill? Now, when you talk about goodwill, it is actually the intangible assets of the business. So, when you talk about intangible assets, these are assets which you cannot touch, feel, but they are there generating income to the business. It is the good name or reputation of the business. So anytime you think about goodwill, it is that good name or reputation of the business which has been built by the profitability of the business. So when the business is doing good in the market, it will actually get what we call goodwill. So goodwill determines the operation and the profitability of the business. So goodwill is a critical component in the business. So goodwill is valued in terms of selling the business or in terms of dissolving the business or in terms of revaluing the business. So there are a lot of scenarios which will actually make us establish what is the goodwill of the business. Now remember, in partnership we were dealing with goodwill, and this goodwill was actually being brought in by the partner who will pay a goodwill for the business which started from nowhere to where it is now. So you pay for that goodwill. So goodwill is an intangible asset which we cannot see, touch, or feel, but it will always generate income for the business. Now, when you talk about goodwill, these are critical areas that you must have in mind. The factors that determines the goodwill. How will we say that the goodwill of the business is good? Or what are these factors that will give us that the goodwill is good? So you hear people saying that business is good. The name of particular company is good. What gives that business a good name? Number one, capital. Capital size. At what point do we say that the goodwill of a business is good? Is it when you're starting with a large capital? Is it when you're starting with a small capital? Is it when your capital has grown in its composition? So when do we say that the goodwill of the business is good? As far as capital is concerned. Yes, who will give us? Now, when you talk about goodwill in terms of capital composition, any business which starts with a small composition of capital, then after a given period of time, that capital grows. So when you get the difference between how you started and where you are right now, it shows how big and how large the company has become. So when you come up with capital, the best capital for starting a business is not a lump sum, it is just a small sum, so that it will grow, and as it grows, your composition of capital will keep on growing. So small capital is good for a goodwill. Number two, location. Yes, why location determines the goodwill of the business? Can somebody tell us why location? Yeah. Yes? Mhm. Yes, yes. So the best location, okay. So location actually establishes the goodwill of a business. Assuming that you are putting your business in the village, will that attract goodwill? That business you are putting in the village, is it the business which is supposed to be in the urban centers? So location establishes the goodwill of the business. Number one, infrastructure, the roads, the power, the water. These are items which gives a goodwill to the business. Now your business is in the central business of maybe Nairobi, so it will have or it will attract goodwill. But the businesses which are outskirts Nairobi might not attract the goodwill. So location establishes the goodwill of the business. Now let me take just for example again, the houses around the central business district are very expensive, and as compared to the business or the houses which are outside the central business. Do you know why? It is because of goodwill. So the goodwill for business in the central business district is very expensive as compared to the businesses which are outside or outskirts of the central business district. Is that clear? Number 3 is time. Yes, somebody to explain about time. Why time factor is very important. What determines good goodwill for a business? One of them is time factor. Now, when you talk about time factor, business which has been in the market for a shorter period of time might not have good goodwill, but businesses which has been in the market for a longer period of time will always attract a good goodwill, will always have a good goodwill. So time is a factor. The longer the business in the market, the better the goodwill. The shorter the business in the market, the lower the goodwill. So time is another factor which is actually determined when establishing the goodwill of the business. Now, for example, I can give an example in terms of time between which two companies? Can we say telecommunication, or we come to transport industry? Is it okay? Or any other product in the market. For example, bread. I know everybody takes bread. Is it okay? Now, how many brands of bread do we have in the market? Just mention 3. One of them is Elliot's. The other one is Broadway's. And the other one is, which is the other one? Superloaf, is it? Now, between Broadway's, Elliot, and Superloaf, which has the good goodwill in the market? Yes? Which one has been in the market for a long period of time? Broadway's. And it is still there. So it has a good goodwill. People will buy Broadway's rather than buying what? Superloaf, is it? And for your information, which one is being marketed so much? There are a lot of brands about the bread in the market. They are doing a lot of marketing. Superloaf is doing a lot of marketing, is it? What about Broadway's? What about Elliot? And the reason is because there are products which has good goodwill in the market. So you don't need to actually do what? Advertisement. But these other products which are new in the market, there is no goodwill. So you are building on goodwill. So time is another factor which determines the period which the product takes in the market. Number 4, management. Can somebody tell us about management? Now, efficient management creates a good goodwill. A good management whereby the board of directors are taking the rightful decision, the management body are taking the rightful decision, creates a good goodwill to the business. Are we together? Then, finally, the nature of the product. Again, the nature of the product establishes the goodwill. So there are products, like for example, we have 2 products in the market for, let's say, Brookside. Brookside, there are 2 products which are the same, but the other one has more goodwill than the other one. So we have Tuso and we have what? Brookside itself, is it? But all these products are the same. But there is a lot of goodwill with Brookside more than the Tuso. And the reason is because the Brookside has been there for a longer period of time. The nature of the product, the branding of the product creates a goodwill for the product. So these are the factors which establishes the goodwill of the product. Capital composition, location of the business, time factor, management efficiency, and the nature of the product. Any question as far as factors which determines the goodwill of the business? Any question?